Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! Taylor gets this one out towards center field to the short porch, and it's a grand slam! That's a floater, out to short. And it's booted off the shortstop's glove! Just like they drew it from Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! Grant Fournier, 2-run shot to right.
We welcome you to Camden Athleticplex. A couple of hours ago, we didn't know we'd be here. In fact, a couple of hours ago, we didn't know we would have a game today. As of 24 hours ago, we had 2 games on the docket, Cherry Hill East and Kingsway and Maple Shade and Pittman. Well, the rain was so bad last night that both of them had to be postponed. We still are covering Maple Shade at Pittman in South Jersey Group 1. That is now shifted to 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon from the famous Alcyon Park. But when you think about South Jersey venues and the meccas of South Jersey baseball, this is one of them. We welcome you to the Camden Athletic Complex for the first round of South Jersey non-public A baseball between the 9-seed St. John Vianney Lancers and the 8-seed Paul VI Eagles. We're no stranger to PVI in the first round. We were at PVI around this time last year for the first round playoff game between Pingree and PVI. PVI scored 11 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning en route to a testy and tumultuous win over Pingree. But PVI's put in the same spot with a different opponent this year. Instead of facing Red Bank Catholic in the second round, their talents, if they win, will be taken to the Christian Brothers Academy, another member of the Shore Conference. But 2 of these teams very similar, both hanging around 500, 11 and 9 for St. John Vianney, and then 11 and 12 for PVI, who lost 3 of their last 4 in the regular season after winning 8 of 11. But it's going to be a good battle on the hill today between both pitchers. Eli Calderon for St. John Vianney coming into this game with a 3.28 ERA. And then meanwhile, the Stockton commit, Anthony Ungaro, is going to be taking the hill for PVI. He's got a nearly sub-2 ERA at 2.01. However, both of these pitchers are not exactly strikeout machines. Calderon has 32, Ungaro has 33. So the difference maker in this game could be who puts the barrel to the ball more. This is a turf field. The ball bounces different for the infielders. And both of these teams, maybe not being all too familiar with the surface, could have some trouble. Oftentimes when we see high school teams play one-and-done games here at Rutgers, it causes some shift, it causes some turmoil, and the infielders, and specifically the middle infielders, they've got to adjust. We've got starting lineups and first pitch ready to go. Coach Klatt and the Lancers of St. John Vianney are wrapping up their infield warm-ups, and we're going to be back in just a moment with more baseball in the parochial bracket here from the 2025 postseason. We're glad we could be with you all today because let's be honest, we didn't know what we were going to do. I was calling my producers at 11 a.m. saying, no, we have no game, but who knows? We called DM Phillips, we got it booked, and we're here. So we'll be back in just a moment. We've got St. John Vianney and PVI coming up next. Welcome back here from Rutgers Camden, right beneath the Ben Franklin Bridge, one of the 4 bridges that brings you into the U.S.'s 4th largest city. And right underneath it, we've got non-public baseball between the St. John Vianney Lancers and the PVI Eagles. The starter for the Eagles this afternoon, just a couple of minutes away from home, is Anthony Ungaro. He's the commit to Stockton University. Neither of these starting pitchers are strikeout machines. He's got 33 with a 2.01 ERA this season, 24 and a third innings pitched, but he's put up 3 impressive shutout performances in the Olympic Conference, most notably versus Rancocas Valley, Cherry Hill West, and Morristown. And even then, in the games where he has let up runs, they've been few and far between, only allowing 7 of them in this season. We'll flip it back over to St. John Vianney for their starting lineup, brought to you by Harper Driving School. Nick Murdo is the third baseman batting leadoff. Tyler Shapiro is the catcher. Mike McCormick bats third in the first baseman's position. Then we've got the trio of double initials. It's C.J. Simone in right, J.T. Molman in center, and J.J. McGonigal at second base. Wyatt Lewis is the designated hitter in the 7 slot. Anthony Bavaro is the left fielder in the 8 slot. And then Mike Capaldo is the shortstop, batting 9th. Elijah Calderon, the right-hander, is the starter for St. John Vianney this afternoon. A day that was mired by rain and just overall bad weather across the last 24 hours has subsided. There's even some blue clouds in the sky, believe it or not, as Anthony Ungaro gets ready to go versus St. John Vianney. It's St. John Vianney's first appearance on DWB, making them the 113th high school in New Jersey to make an appearance. The Lancers in black and yellow, talking it up in the dugout versus the Stockton commit, pitching from the edge of the rubber. We're ready to go, and so are the blue and white and the black and gold. Here's the first pitch. We're underway in playoff baseball. It's 0-1. St. John Vianney competing out of the Shore C North Conference, or division in the Shore Conference. Slider catches the outside corner, quickly 0-2. As we said, PVI for the second straight year getting stuck with the 8 slot in South Jersey Non-Public A, beat Pingree 13-4 to advance to the second round last season. 0-2. Ripped foul down towards the bullpen. I'm honestly shocked the sun is coming out. Some games are on as scheduled today, including Audubon, Buna, and South Jersey Group 1. And a few others that can't remember the name of, but that one's fouled back. Still 1-2 here.
I know a lot of the Central North, they got moved to Domination.
Yeah, in Flemington, yeah.
They have all turf complex there.
SJV started out the season 1-4, or check that, 1-3, before riffing off 4 straight wins in mid-April, a sweep over Red Bank Regional and then a sweep over Neptune. They are 3-2 in their last 5, including a split over Middletown South. That one's outside, 2-2. They lost in the quarterfinal round of the Monmouth County Tournament 4-3 to Monmouth. But St. John Vianney actually having the better overall record at 11-9. That one's high. This at-bat is going to work him to the bone. Ungaro now with a 3-2 count. Oh, 2-2 count, my apologies. So many foul balls you can't keep count. Shapiro on deck getting some really good looks here at Ungaro. Setting him up well and giving him a lot of time in that box. That's a ground ball into right field for a base hit. And the Lancers lead off the ball game with a base hit down the right field line. And we've got offense to start, as now Tyler Shapiro will be the batter. I will say I've been to Rutgers Camden. I've been to this field at least 20 or 30 times. I'm not used to not seeing a scoreboard, and I'm not used to no speakers or anything of the kind being set up. That is a little bit odd for me, to be quite honest. But This field was only reserved yesterday, at least as far as we know. We were supposed to be at PVI for the game on Wednesday, but it got pushed back. We've got a 1-0 count. And the pitch. Strike called. Murdo on first base, manning the hot corner today. Here's the pitch. Shapiro got jammed. Pops it up down the third base line into the soccer field. Shapiro, the junior catcher, batting .340, 16 for 47, one home run, which was actually in his most recent game on May 24th in an 8-3 win over Middletown North. As he'll get ready to go again. Ungaro looks back at first. He's got a 1-2 count on the two-hitter. Here's the pitch. That's lined down the left field line towards Coach Klatt, and it's out of play. Murdo, the runner on first. No stolen bases on the year. He had 3 last season. This year as a batter, 21 for 46. 20 of his 21 hits are singles, which it's kind of what you want out of a leadoff guy if he's not going to be a speedster, if he's not going to steal a lot of bags. You want him to be somebody that can be a high average hitter and somebody who can get on base and set it up for the next guy. At the letters, back picked by Andolfi. It's not in time, and it's 2-2. Bit of a late back pick there by Andolfi. I think he just kind of realized that he wanted to get Murdo a little bit caught off guard, maybe wanted him to be put in check, if you will. As the train passes overhead, the 2-2. That ball's hit well out to left field. It's hit well by Shapiro. It's playable, though, by DeJalianardo, and he'll make the catch for the first out of the ball game. A ringing fly out to left. That's the first out for SJV in the top of the first. In the 9-8 game of South Jersey Non-Public A, we've now got the first baseman, Mike McCormick, another senior. He's a specialist with the long ball, 9 career home runs. 5 of them this season, .396 hitter. 21 for 53. So, I mean, a very impressive, almost a quarter of his hits have been of the long ball. There's a hot shot in the left field for a base hit. McCormick gets on. That'll be 2 base hits off of Ungaro, and St. John Vianney putting their stamp on this ball game right now. 2 base hits. Now it sets it up for the left-hander, C.J. Simone, the right fielder. I like this hitting approach by SJV right now. They're hitting often and early, and that's what you always like to see. These two teams aren't really familiar with each other, at least not in recent years. So the best thing that they can do is kind of provide the shock factor to the other team, and that's exactly what St. John Vianney is doing right here. They're trying to get PVI hit off their rocker. They really recognized Ungaro's pitch mix early, and now they're pouncing on it. So here's Simone. Up and away. Simone, in a small sample size, a 500 hitter, 7 for 14. 1 double and 6 walks, a .571 slugging percentage. Had a 4-hit performance, 4 for 4 in a 9-8 loss to Middletown South on May 19th. That fastball missed high and away. We've got a 1-0. Curveball catches the zone on the outside corner. 1-1. Even though SJV is hitting it, I do like this pitch mix here from Ungaro. I think that he's being a little bit inoffensive with it right now. He's not trying to do too much. He's really just trying to get settled in, especially because most of these teams aren't used to pitching off of a turf mound in the high school season. I mean, I do say that playing on turf is unusual, but it's not foreign for these players, especially in a travel ball setting. They may not be used to it in the high school season, but when it comes to the travel ball season, a lot of your games are going to be played on that artificial surface. St. John Vianney's dugout must have had a couple extra cups of coffee in the morning. They are fired up with 2 runners on and 1 away in the top of the first, looking to get the early edge on a long road trip, over an hour 15 for them to get here from Monmouth County. There's a swing and a miss. Bit of a delayed swing by Simone, but he's got a 1-2 count. It's the trio of 2 letters. C.J. Simone, J.T. Molman, and then J.G. McGonigal. As Molman, the center fielder, waits on deck. 1 ball, 2 strikes. To Simone, manning right field today for the Lancers. Here's the pitch. Down. And Dolphy traps it. The PVI dugout told him where it was, and he responded accordingly. Two balls, 2 strikes. With Molman on deck. First lefty of the game for SJV. Here's the pitch. Slider up and in. Gets him for the K. And there's 1 down here in the top of the first. Well, this will be a big opportunity that SJV does not want to waste. I mean, they've got 2 outs, 2 on. You never want to be that kind of team that gets an early start but then can't make anything of it, especially with how good PVI's offense has been this year and with the Coastal Carolina commit Mason Myers returning to the lineup after an injury that hampered him for a little while. At least a couple of weeks, if not a month. Fouled back right side, over towards Delaware Ave. David, don't you think it's a good idea we moved our cars?
Yeah.
Besides the obvious.
Yeah.
Mason Myers manning center field today for the Eagles. Again, the junior and commit to Coastal Carolina missed a significant amount of time this year with an injury. Outside, 1-1. First 3 for DM Phillips and the Eagles will be Mason Myers in center, Sean Taylor at short, and Nick Shear at first base. Runners on first and second for St. John Vianney. 5-hitter JT Molman, the center fielder, with McGonigal on deck. 1-1. Slider, a big swing and a miss that time. And it's 1-2. As we said, Myers will lead it off. Team leader in batting average with .341 and also an on-base percentage leader with the Eagles at a .509 spot. And then Shear in the 3 spot, the hits and RBI leader. 20 hits, 11 ribbies for the Eagles. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss on the outside corner. He got him. Side retired, and the inning is over. Anthony Ungaro picks up 2 huge strikeouts to retire the side, and through a half inning here in Camden, the Lancers leave 2 base runners on, and now PVI will get their first hacks at the dish on their field at their home away from home. We'll be right back. St. John Vianney getting ready to go. Their starting pitcher on the hill. Let's introduce you to the starting pitcher for St. John Vianney this afternoon. It's going to be Eli Calderon, the senior right-hander, donning an odd baseball number, number 46. Don't see it too much, but either way, doesn't matter what jersey he wears. It matters that he's got good stuff. 36 and a third innings pitched, 11 walks, 32 Ks, and a 3.28 ERA as he faces in versus one of South Jersey's most feared sluggers, Mason Myers. Definitely could take advantage of the short porch in right field here this afternoon. 311 feet down the right field line. I think the common misconception with the short porch is that the wind is almost always blowing in here. Today, the wind is blowing out, but 9 times out of 10 when we're in Camden, the wind is blowing in, and despite what many would consider hitter-friendly dimensions, the ballpark is not that. Ground ball to short, to second base, picked up, and Myers is retired. Let's take a quick gander at the PVI starting lineup presented by Harper Driving School. Mason Myers, who you just saw, ground out to second. He's the center fielder. Sean Taylor's the shortstop in the 2 slot. Nick Shear at first base. Alicio Adinolfi is the DH. Cole Martin, the catcher. Keegan McGravy at second. Dom DiGialianardo is the left fielder. Mike Finelli in right, and Gabe Lero at third. Anthony Ungaro is the pitcher. Strike called to Taylor. One. One of the biggest things about non-public baseball is that there's such few teams in the North Jersey and South Jersey brackets, or in the South Jersey brackets, that you get a team from Monmouth County coming down and playing, quote, South Jersey baseball, versus a team that's actually from South Jersey like PVI. Taylor got way on top of that and fouled it off. He's trying to tomahawk it a little bit. And it's 1-2. Taylor, the senior, 5'10", 150, and he strikes out swinging. Second out of the inning, Calderon picks up his first strikeout in his second batter, a 4-3 ground out and a strikeout. And now here's Nick Shearer. So we do have walk-up music coming from somewhere. I think that's from the PVI dugout. DIY walk-up music. That one's, oh my goodness, that's lined into right field. It's a base hit. He fell down out of the box like he got the rug pulled out from under him. It's an odd hit, but it counts just the same. Did he trip over his own bat? I don't know what happened there. It's a single, nonetheless. And now Adinolfi will be the hitter. See what happened there, Dave?
No, I didn't. I think he just fell.
I think he just straight up, he swung so hard that he fell. Either way, though, it's a base hit. Inside 1-0 to Adinolfi as Shear picks up an unusual base hit. That one is low, 2-0. Martin, the catcher, on deck. Fouled back. So it's 2-1 as he got that one foul. Martin doing the classic tradition of having his knee pads on just in case with 2 outs that the runner doesn't reach. Runner goes, it's foul again, 2-2. Martin will be followed by Keegan McGravy, the second baseman. Do have to get there first. Myers grounded out softly to second. Taylor struck out swinging. Now the cleanup man looks to get some offense on the board. Runner goes. That one's lined foul. Down the left field line, almost hit the third base coach for PVI, Nick Gruber. Also the head coach of the Tri-County League summer team, the South Jersey Grizzlies. For those Tri-County fans out there, we debut with the Tri-County Baseball League for our third season with them on Sunday, June 1st. That one's outside. It's 3-2. Runners will be given the green light on the pitch here. Here we go. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Runner's going to get the go. And he does. Here's the pitch. That is fouled back, and we stay alive. Again, Martine will be on deck if the inning continues. But just like Ungaro had in the top of the first, he's going to have a long at-bat, and he's going to have to earn it. Here's the pitch. Runner goes. That one's grounded. Out towards short. It's picked up, and the throw to first is in time, and the inning is over. So at the end of the first inning, St. John Vianney gives up 1 single but nothing more, as going to the bottom half here going to the top of the second here in Camden, it is no score between the Lancers and the Eagles. The pillar of the Ben Franklin Bridge, representing the quasi-batter's eye here at the Camden Athletic Complex. We join you in the top of the second inning with J.J. McGonigal leading us off 6, 7, and 8 for the Lancers, led by Coach Klatt in the top of the second inning. Both teams got base hits, but no score. Ungaro got back-to-back strikeouts to end the inning after 2 base hits by Murdo and McCormick. Here's the pitch. Right down Broadway for a strike. Hot shot out to short, or rather out to second base, picked up by McGravy. That's the first out of the inning. Brings St. John to the seventh batter now. The pedestrian bridge reopened on the Ben Franklin Bridge not too long ago. People taking advantage of it. With the hustle and bustle of Philadelphia bringing you back, as here's the pitch. Popped up over our heads and out of play. 7th hitter for the Lancers being Wyatt Lewis. He's the designated hitter for the pitcher Calderon, who is not hitting. Lewis, a .278 hitter, 10 for 36, 5 RBIs, 2 extra base hits, and 2 walks. Got jammed. This one could be trouble, though. It looks like, though, Taylor's got it, and it's not a problem. 2 away now, as the Eagles looking to make quick work here in the top half of the second. Now brings up number 37, Anthony Bavaro, the sophomore, manning left field today. 4 for 14, .286 average. One that really sticks out, though, is that despite him only having 14 at-bats, he's got 11 walks, which gives him an insanely high on-base percentage, over 500, and 7 RBIs. But that's because in Bavaro's appearances, he had 4 straight games with 2 walks, quite exactly. Neptune on April 24th had 2. In both ends of the Raritan 2-game set, walked twice. And then in the first game versus Manchester Township on May the 6th, his next appearance, also got 2 walks. So in 5 separate games this season, Bavaro has won the battle rather silently over the pitchers, as a swing and a miss makes it 1-1. Mike Capaldo, the shortstop, would be next if the inning continues. Ground ball out to second, started the inning, and then a pop out to short. Got the second out off the bat of Lewis, the DH. Hit out towards right, it's foul. First 3 for PVI in the bottom of the second will be the catcher Martine, McGravy, and then Dom DiGialeonardo in the 6th slot. Check that in the 7th slot. Ongaro stepped off the mound, no good that time, 2-2. Honestly, saying good spot is kind of the coach's way of saying, yeah, I didn't like that call, but you had a good reason. 2-2, swing and a miss. He got him. Inning over. Anthony Ongaro with 3 strikeouts through 2 innings. Picks up another one to retire the side, this time at the hands of Bavaro. We're through 1.5 here in Camden, no score.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
This broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on the first attempt. If you like those odds, you can book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman at 614 Lambs Road. Also, if you're a small business owner or somebody you know is a small business owner interested in advertising with DWB, they can send us an email with an advertising inquiry at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. That one's popped up down the right field line and foul over towards the restrooms. We'll send you a flyer with information on how to get your name in the advertising game in South Jersey's largest independent broadcasting organization, with over 100,000 viewers annually on YouTube and over 6,000 followers between Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or X, excuse me. People still call it Twitter anyway. It's 1-on-1. Martine, McGravy, and DJ Leonardo in the three slots to hit in the bottom of the second. PVI had a base hit by Shear, but no luck getting anything else on the board as that one's up towards Tyler Phillips at first base. DM Phillips in his third season with the Eagles, 41-36 in his short head coaching career. Took over in 2023. That one misses after a 15-7 season by the longtime head coach Gary Sarno, who has been pretty much everywhere. He's the, I'm trying to think of a good example here. Here's the pitch, strike 3 called. Second strikeout. Like Ish Smith in basketball, or Ryan Fitzpatrick, Josh Johnson, people that have been everywhere. The South Jersey head coach equivalent is Gary Sarno. He's just been everywhere. Martine strikes out looking. And a strike is called to McGravy right away. There's another strike called. That one's outside. Sarno, he really has been everywhere. He started out as an assistant at Camden Catholic. Also spent assistant years at Bishop Eustace and Shawnee. His first head coaching stint was at Hamilton as a pop-up. First base, calls for it valiantly and makes the catch. 2 away for DJ Leonardo. He replaced the legendary Tom Trotman at Cherry Hill West for 12 seasons and then had another 8-year stint at Hamilton. He was a teacher at Hamilton for 28 years and joined the PVI organization in 2020. So he coached from 2021 to 23, joined at the age of 67. His last head coaching job that I know of was 2023, spent a year at Triton. Now they've got some good folks over there that are taking care of the Mustangs. Here's the 1-0. Strike called. Good stuff here from Calderoni. Doesn't exactly have a conventional windup, but he just kind of chucks it there and he makes it work, makes it stick. Gets a lot of first pitch strikes, even in a tight strike zone tonight. And he's forced a lot of swings and misses like that. Like, that slider doesn't have that kind of lethal drop that you would expect, but it's effective right now. That one is lined out to short. It's picked up. Throw across to Diamond is in time, and the side is retired. St. John Vianney with a clean second, and through 2 in Camden. We've got no score under the prestige of the Ben Franklin Bridge. The Lancers 0 and the Eagles 0. Top of the third, ready to go here under the Camden Athletic Complex. It was really funny because we've been here at least 20 or 25 times in our years of covering South Jersey baseball, and we were actually here before either team showed up. I got stuck in traffic, but I got here around 1:10, and St. John Vianney shows up about 10 minutes later, and all of the players are taking out their phones and taking pictures of the ballpark, and I'm just like, I'm used to it. I almost felt like, we were locals watching the tourists come to town, and all the people that take pictures of the Eiffel Tower, all the Americans that go to Italy and they pose in front of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I'm sure the locals don't like it, but I found it was really funny because there's not a lot of full turf fields in Jersey, and certainly not a lot of them in South Jersey. The big meccas of South Jersey baseball are probably this and Alcyon Park. Only other one I can think of is Eastern and Joe Hartman Field, because I believe that's also turf.
Half of it, yeah.
Oh, half of it is.
The outfield's grass.
Okay, just the infield is turf. That's got to be a little bit odd for fielding hops.
Oh, it bounces, yeah.
Well, it bounces in the infield, just doesn't bounce in the outfield.
Yeah, but if it hits a lip going into the outfield.
Oh yeah, that would be odd. Bordentown is also a turf field in the increasingly odd Central Jersey Group 2 bracket. They've got, first of all, ground ball foul by the 9-hitter, 9-1-2 for SJV in the top of the third. That bracket has an 11 versus 14 game with Allentown and Bordentown, who beat Delran in 5 innings, 13-0. Had a couple of home runs from Luke Guire in that game. But Bordentown is actually the away team, but they're hosting because Bordentown is the turf. That's kind of the similar situation to what's going on here. I mean, it's a neutral site, but at least you're not having it at the other team's school. That's got to be a bit of a blow to your home field advantage, but here's the 2-2. Hot shot. That's a fair ball. It's bobbled by Shear. Can he beat him to the bag? He does. It's in time. Head first dive at first, a valiant effort, but the inning will continue with one away as a 3 unassisted ground out of an unusual circumstance gets Capaldo retired. As we go back to the top of the card for Murdo. Had a single in his first at-bat. But this stadium, built in 2021, completed in 2021, broke ground in 2018 after the closure of the Camden River Sharks baseball team in the Atlantic League and the closure and demolition of Campbell's Field. This originally was just going to be a parking lot in Camden, because if you're a parent that's arriving from St. John Vianney for the game, you probably know how bad the parking is here. But that one's lined right center field, and Murdo's going to have his second hit of the game. It's lined into the right center field slot there. Picked up, and it's his second hit of the day. He's 2 for 2, and now Shapiro will be the batter. But no, I think the way that they have revamped this area and this land, I think they did it the right way. The Camden River Sharks only were around for 15 years, from 2000 to 2015, and then closed after that season. I remember going to a lot of River Sharks games as a kid. Still have a River Sharks ice cream helmet or two, but the Atlantic League, not technically minor league baseball, but an independent league that is considered an MLB partner league. So some players that flamed out in the big leagues or won a second chance after, some kind of injury or whatnot. A lot of them do play in that league. The closest to us right now would be the Long Island Ducks or the Lancaster Barnstormers, around an hour and a half either way. But point stands, though, that, when we're talking about independent league baseball, that is so organic and homegrown. I mean, just all of those local communities that support their teams, it's great. But I think that Camden, their independent league team didn't really live because of the fact that Camden had a really bad reputation 10, 15 years ago. And people were struggling to go to games because they didn't want to go into the city. They didn't want to go into Camden. Camden had a bad rap to it. I think you could argue that even with the improvements that have been made in the city, that sentiment for some is still there. But either way, though, it's a 2-1 count. But this was originally just going to be a big parking lot, and then they said, let's make a community park out of it. So behind us is a turf soccer field that has been used for Mastery Camden Charter flag football games. And here goes the runner. Here comes the throw down to second. It is not in time. A good slide there. McGravy went in for a second look in case the runner overslid, but it's a stolen base for Murdo. And Shapiro's now got a runner in scoring position with a 3-1 count. But this ballpark, if you look at Campbell's Field from an overhead satellite view, this ballpark was actually shifted 75 degrees to the northwest to make it so that the pillar of the bridge would act as the batter's eye. Strike called. Shapiro went to toss the bat. Looked like at the knees that time, 3-2. But if you look at images of Campbell's Field, if you just Google it, it's actually interesting because the bridge was a lot less prominent when the River Sharks played. If you were standing where you are now, you'd actually have to tilt your head pretty far to the left to see the bridge. Now it's the most prominent part of the landscape over the left field wall. That one hit him in the shoulder. Shapiro got an unlucky strike call on a 3-1 pitch and now gets a hit-by pitch. And for the second time today, St. John Vianney has 2 base runners on. That's a big opportunity, though, because now you've got McCormick. He's got 5 home runs. The wind is pretty calm, but still leaning in his favor. Ungaro is trying to argue that the batter leaned into the pitch. I was going to say something about that, but they didn't end up causing an issue, and DM Phillips didn't cause an issue either. I think that if DM Phillips had a huge problem with it, he would have come out of the dugout right away. While they wait, there's going to be a courtesy runner. Infield will break up. I don't know. What did you see there?
I mean, like, even if he leaned into it, it's ball 4 anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it would have been a strike.
Yeah. It looked like he just tried. He made an attempt to get out of the way, I think.
Right.
But he turned his back maybe into the pitch. Maybe that's what PVI saw, but in my book, it's ball 4 anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that 3-1 pitch probably should have been ball 4, but
yeah.
We do have a courtesy runner at first for PVI. I'm sorry, for St. John Vianney. That looks like number 44, Tegan Mooten. Here's the pitch. Fouled back by McCormick. And it's 0-1. Ungaro and Calderon, like we said, not exactly big strikeout merchants. I mean, 32 for Ungaro, 33 for Calderon. Both right-handers that have a little bit of zip to them. Ungaro probably has a little bit more, but I mean, he's been topping out at 87, 88 this year. There's a swing and a miss by McCormick. Like we said, he had 4 home runs as a sophomore, now has 5 this season as a senior. I think, though, with 1 away, will be a big opportunity for Simone on deck, one of the only lefties in the lineup for the Lancers, to get some runs home and put the visitors in front. Here's the 0-2. They do call strike 3, but now the ball gets away. They backpicked. The throw went into right field. Here comes the runner. They're going to hold everybody up. There was confusion all around because It was a little bit of a delayed call to get strike 3. It is a strikeout, though, from McCormick. It's Ungaro's 4th, and there's now 2 away, but because of an E2, both runners advance 1 base. An odd play there. They tried to go for a back pick on strike 3, tried to execute the element of surprise. But instead they get 2 runners in scoring position here with 2 away for Simone. Struck out swinging his first time. Ungaro from the edge of the rubber. Here's the pitch. There's a ground ball out to second base. This could get him out of it, and it will. Side retired. A little hiccup at first base, and first baseman went down, it looks like, but he gets up okay. Side is retired. An odd inning indeed. St. John Vianney gets 2 runners on a single and a hit by pitch to Shapiro, but they do not score. Still, nobody's crossed home plate here this afternoon in Camden. Bottom of the 3rd inning. This broadcast is brought to you by Garden State Pet Center. Keep your pet happy and healthy today with the most organic food products available in South Jersey, along with toys, cages, accessories, and much, much more. You can visit today or 7 days a week at 226 South White Horse Pike in Audubon. Tomorrow we'll be down at Alcyon Park in Pittman at 2 o'clock start between Maple Shade and the Panthers in the South Jersey Group 1 first round. Or I checked that the second round is look out. DM Phillips almost broke his sternum on that one. He had to jump out of the way like we're on a level of Donkey Kong. But it's 0-1 on the foul ball. It's Finelli, Lero, and Myers. 8-9-1 as this one's hot out towards second. Picked up. Easy throw to first is in time, and 5 in a row have been set down by Calderon. I mean, this is what we talked about when we said that, you know, Eli Calderon isn't exactly a strikeout specialist. Like we said, only came into this game with 32. He's given up 1 base hit, but he's only struck out 2, and everything else has been ground balls and 1 pop out to first. That's been it. In the first 2 2 1/3, he's already induced 4 ground balls. I mean, if I'm Coach Klatt, I'm not upset about that, because it doesn't matter how many strikeouts you get. We talk about Henry Radbill all the time. Rutgers commit, not Rutgers Camden, where we're at right now, but the Rutgers main campus in New Brunswick. He struck out 16 batters versus Eastern across 6 1/3. Cherokee lost that game 2-1. Doesn't matter how many you strike out if you don't win the game. Eastern in that game between the 2 left-handers, Henry Radbill and Cooper Birdie, struck out 22 times. But yet they still won in a 10-inning battle 2-1. Henry Radbill did the same, 11 strikeouts on Monday versus Washington Township. Now, they did win that game 6-2, but it was closer than some would expect for a 1v16 game. 2 balls, 2 strikes. By the way, for non-public B, just got word Morristown Friends and Holy Cross has been moved to a 5 o'clock start. I mean, it's late enough in the year. You're probably going to be able to get the game in without, daylight concerns. That one's lined. On one hop, goes out to second base. Throw to first is in time. And there's 2 away. We turn it back over to the top for Mason Myers. But here in Camden, always love to be a part of the action. As Mason Myers, the commit to Coastal Carolina, after back-to-back 4-3 groundouts. Again, 2 2/3 innings, 2 strikeouts, 1 hit, but 5 groundouts induced. Again, I can't be mad at that. He's only given up 1 hit, and that's been his only base runner, Nick Shear. And even that was a weird base hit of its own. Blooper in the right. Framed outside, 1-1. Myers, who missed a fair bit of time this season due to an injury of some sort. The junior, 6'1", 170, committed to Coastal Carolina earlier this year. He bats .341, only had 41 at-bats compared to 73 as a freshman, 74 as a junior. That one's ripped center field, going in, and a shoestring catch is made to end the inning. We are through 3, and the Lancers and the Eagles still at a stalemate. No score for these 2 squads at the end of the 3rd inning here at the Camden Athletic Complex. Top of the 4th inning, it's no score. It's time for DWB Trivia Time. Today's question is, the New York Yankees, one of the most famed, if not the most famed organization in Major League Baseball history, has had a streak going for a long, long time of winning. Not exactly in the World Series, but winning overall. When was the last season that the Yankees had a losing record? A, 1991, B, 1995, C, 2007, or D, 1986? Answer will be revealed in the bottom of the 4th inning. Molman, McGonigal, and Lewis. 5, 6, and 7 for the Lancers in the top of the 4th. Already a good chunk into this one without any offense. I mean, there's really nothing to say that there's a reason why the offense hasn't been there. I mean, both pitchers, both of these guys are throwing their number 1s because Ungaro and it's going to be Ungaro and Calderon. The second round is tomorrow. If everything holds up. There's supposed to be rain Friday and Saturday. It's basically been raining for the last 40 days and 40 nights. We are in the Catholic division. But where we are right now, we're kind of in a spot where if you push it too far back, you're going to be hurting your own team in terms of how rested you're going to be, especially because the winner of this game has to travel all the way up to play Christian Brothers. RBC was the 1 seed last year. Now that title's been handed over to the Colts. That's 5 strikeouts for Ungaro. He's got another one looking. There's one away. So, I mean, right now I'm kind of in that boat where I'm thinking both of these teams could be in a really precarious spot only because of who they're going to play and when they're going to play them. If this game was played yesterday like it was scheduled to be, maybe you could rest some of the guys more. Having a full off day between playoff games matters more than you think it does. I think about the fact that the sectional semifinals are going to be on Tuesday, and a lot of teams that were going to play today and would have almost a week off going into the next round are now only going to have maybe 3 days of rest. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, don't even count Friday as a day of rest if you're playing Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Count is 1-1 here to McGonigal. Grounded out to second in his first and only at-bat today. 3 hits for the Lancers, 2 base hits by Murdo, and 1 by McCormick, all singles for the Stockton commit Anthony Ungaro. We'll be at Stockton on Saturday for our debut with Atlantic City FC. It's our first of 3 games with them in the League for Clubs as they face FC Monmouth at 3 p.m. on Saturday, May 31st from Stockton University. As that one is fouled straight back. Like we said, our next playoff game will be tomorrow, Maple Shade versus Pittman. The 5 versus 4 game in South Jersey Group 1. Woodstown beat Pennsville 2-0 in that game. That was played over at Upper Chichester in PA. First time in a long time, if ever, that I've heard of a New Jersey State playoff game being played in Pennsylvania. I mean, the inverse happened last week. Philadelphia Catholic League final was played here. Our good friends over at Delco Baseball Now, we've had some great conversations with them. They do an excellent job covering Delco Baseball. It's gotten me into the sport, into the scene there, even though I don't know half of the schools. They do an excellent job. A lot of Villanova kids covering the stuff over there, just like Rowan covers a lot of stuff in South Jersey. But that's going to be a free pass for McGonigal. And now that'll set up Wyatt Lewis here. Popped out to short in his first at-bat. But it is the first walk allowed by Ungaro. He did allow a hit by pitch in the last inning to Shapiro, but no other blemishes on his record there. I am liking how Ungaro is attacking the zone here. I mean, he's not getting too much to go his way in terms of close calls, but he is getting whatever he can. He throws that one just off the outside corner, and he doesn't get it. But that's just kind of his style. He likes to rip the outside corners a little bit, and then he likes to deceive you and go in. He does the out-in reverse. Throws one out, and then gets you going back in. He really keeps you guessing, not with the vertical and horizontal, or not with the vertical aspect, but with the horizontal aspect. That time, though, like we said, moved it a little bit in and got the call. And I think as Ungaro and Calderon move deeper into this game, they're going to have a more fundamental understanding of how they have to command their pitches to get the calls that they want, and how the catcher has to frame their work to get the calls that they want, because it's not going to be easy to get them. This is a ground ball out to second. There's 6-4. Oh, safe at first base. Tough one down there. It's going to be a 6-4 fielder's choice, putting Lewis aboard. Now that'll bring up Bavaro. Strike called. So 2 away now. 6-4-3 fielder's choice. Bang bang play at first, and a good stretch by Shear. Here's the pitch. Strike called there. 0-2 the count with 2 away. here at the Camden Athletic Complex, one of the most beautiful backdrops in all of college baseball. That's a line drive. Oh, it's off the glove. Now it goes out towards second base. The throw to first is in time. Unbelievable. That's a 6-4-3 ground out straight out of Cirque du Soleil. A high-flying act here in the middle infield, and the acrobatics bring out number 3. Who needs the Savannah Bananas? You've got Keegan McGravy and Sean Taylor. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Still no score as SJV held off the board. Back here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, let's take a look at that web gem at shortstop. Here's the slow motion replay. Let's take a look. I mean, honestly, this is something that I haven't seen in a long time. Just going over here, see if I can get a better look at it. It was a line drive hit off of his glove. Umpire got in the way a little bit of our shot there, but McGravy picked it up, fired it to first, and then out by about a step. Just a beautiful play at first base. As we return in the bottom of the 4th inning, and a swing and a miss. What a day it's been, though, here at Camden. Feels like, I mean, this is way different than what we had at Pingree PVI last year, as that one's out of play. If any of you remember that game, the PVI side. 11 runs for the Eagles in the bottom of the 6th inning in that game. They won it 13-4. That might be one of the weirdest baseball games I have ever covered. Maybe one of the weirdest sporting events I've ever covered. Because I remember the catcher in that game for Pingree, and I don't know if he's graduated or not, so I'm not going to say his name, but I remember in that game, our mics picked up after a kind of questionable but not too bad of a call at first base. Or I think it might have been a safe route call at home. The catcher takes off his mask, turns to the umpire and says, "Listen, I know you're trying to swing the game for PVI." And at that point, the entire bench, because everybody heard it, and the entire parent section erupted. The umpire didn't throw anybody out of that game. Pingree said they would protest. They never did, or at least they didn't get anywhere with it. So they didn't even put the game under protest. They just said, we're going to protest the game, and that was that. But that was one of the weirdest and possibly that was maybe the first baseball game where I was like tensing up inside because I was right in front of it all. But got an 0-2 count here to Taylor after Myers flew out to end the inning. Or, excuse me, there is Shear now. So it'll be Alicio Adenolfi on deck instead. Here's the 1-2. Popped up. This could be the second out of the inning going back. Backpedaling, shifting to the left, he'll make the catch. And a quick release for out number 2. Let's get that answer in for Dan Wilkins Broadcasting Trivia Time. For our friends in Central Jersey, we give you a Yankees treat today. Today's question is, when was the last season that the New York Yankees had a losing season, under 500? The options are 1991, 1995, 2007, or 1986. David Cohen, our color commentator for the day. You got a guess?
1995.
You'd be incorrect. They actually made the World Series that year and lost to the Braves. The answer is 1991. They finished 76 and 86 in 91, and they have had a streak, 2020 included, of 33 straight seasons with a winning record. Two-0 count to Adinolfi. And the last time we covered PVI on April 24th, he had a 2-run home run off of Seneca's Casey Lawrence, or something Lawrence, I forget his first name, but Ethan Lawrence. There's a Casey Lawrence I know somewhere. I don't remember. Probably from MLB The Show 17 or something like that. You know, one of those things, one of those names that sticks in your head, like a 55 overall pitcher that you just can't get rid of. That game ended up ending in a 6-2 win for PVI. Strike called on the check. It's 3-2. So Shear popped out to short, and a quick second out in the bottom of the 4th inning could mean this game remains scoreless. But Adinolfi, with just one home run this season, looks to add another. Ball 4. Honestly, first walk for Calderon, not bad there. Worked the count full. Had a very good at-bat there, and now Martin will throw off the shin guards, and he'll bat. Yeah, I never really thought of that even with no speakers set up, that they could just run walk-up music, as they always would, because I think PVI doesn't have any speakers either. I think it's just they literally plant one in the dugout, and they play walk-up music through there. Oh, 1. Hit out towards left. Hooking down the line, and it's caught. Inning over. So St. John Vianney and PVI, this one might come down to the wire. And honestly, whoever scores first may be taking their talents to Christian Brothers Academy on Friday. We've got no score through 4 in Camden. Top of the fifth inning, this broadcast is brought to you by DAWG Pro Wrestling, the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. DAWG Pro Wrestling is New Jersey's premier pro wrestling organization with high-flying events and nonstop entertainment throughout the Garden State. For more information on their future events and their past events, including their recent one at Rowan University, you can visit their website at dawgprowrestling.com. Like we said, if you're a small business owner interested in advertising with us, we always have advertising space available on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. All commercials you see on today's broadcast are filmed and edited by our wonderful crew, as this one's fouled back to the top of the net. As it's 9-1-2. For the Lancers. Mike Capaldo, the shortstop, looking to get some big opportunities here in the top of the fifth inning. Only a handful of hits combined between both sides. 3 for PVI. One's outside, 2-1. As we said, tomorrow we'll be at Pittman versus Maple Shade at 2 o'clock on Friday. Saturday we'll be in the Atlantic County area for the League for Clubs Week 3. Between FC Monmouth and Atlantic City FC. Atlantic City FC is going into their third matchup of the season and their first home opener at Stockton with a record of 1-0-1. They downed Kensington SC 7-1 in their season debut and their first in the League for Clubs. And then they drew versus First State FC out of Wilmington, Delaware, 0-0 in Week 2. You'll be seeing Atlantic City FC on Saturday, May 31st versus FC Monmouth. And then you'll be seeing them again on July 5th. Excuse me, I had to check the dates real quick. July 7th versus Kensington and July 12th versus First State FC out of Delaware. Two balls, one strike. To the shortstop. Big swing and a miss. Will take a big step out of the box. And it's 2-2. Shakes off his catcher, shakes him off again. Now he nods, goes back into the rotation. And a 2-2. Fastball popped up, got jammed. Martin almost tripped over the bat. It's caught by McGravy. There's one away. You know, David, when you played in the infield at Seneca, you probably ran into a couple games like this where it just seemed like nobody could get anything going. And as a fielder, when you have both pitchers that are pretty intense on getting ground balls put in play, does that change how you think about things? Because when a pitcher's got like 15 strikeouts, maybe your mind's thinking, all right, it might be hit to me, but this guy's got it pretty under control. But Ungaro's got 5 Ks, and then, well, SJV's guy only has 2. So
I think you still anticipate the baseball. You want to make an out, but in a 0-0 game, and especially in a playoff atmosphere, you definitely start to tense up, and the nerves start to hit in again. Nerves in the first inning, I would say, are probably the worst. But
right, because you're not used to you were used to the playoff atmosphere when you played there, but we are talking about back-to-back sectional champions with Seneca, but
in terms of your pitcher having a lot of strikeouts, I think you still anticipate the baseball, and you want to make a play and have your pitchers back. Yeah.
That one's fouled back towards Delaware Ave. Like we were saying, I think a food truck has set up shop down the first base line or out of play. I would hope the food truck is out of play. I don't know what that is. It has no signage on it. It has no... There's a fly ball popped up to second base. That one's out, and McGravy makes the catch for out number 2. Back-to-back pop-ups. We do bring it back to Shapiro now. But yeah, 0-0 game in the playoffs. You think about a 0-0 game in a regular season, and you think about, if you lose, you move on to the next game. But for this, one of these teams is going to go home with seniors in tears and seniors, playing their last outs of organized baseball for a long time, unless they go to the collegiate level or unless they go to like a summer league or something like that. But One's popped up. It's out to second base. It will be Shear who makes the catch, and the inning is over. Ongaro goes sky high. 3 outs, 3 pop-ups. And, well, a PVI player just grabbed a baseball. I thought he grabbed something from the truck. Want to see what that mystery meet's all about. We go to the bottom of the 5th. We've still got 2 goose eggs on the board here in Camden. Bottom of the 5th inning. Next one to score could be the one headed to Christian Brothers. And getting it started, sliding stop, throw across, it's up, it's wide. McGravy gets in there on a cue shot at short, got picked up, but will be a runner on. I did get a look at the food truck. There's no name, there's no signage, there's just flames on the side of it. And there's a grill, but it's not turned on. But there is some candy, there's some snacks down there. Honestly, they probably are just a local group that goes around and when they see something going on, I was just talking to Mark Ferretti about it. When there's a game going on, they probably just, see, oh, customers, let's see what we can get. But honestly, there is some great food in Camden. I mean, there is some great spots to be here. Donkey's Place, probably some of the best cheesesteaks in South Jersey. It's that one Mexican place on Federal Street that's real good, but the real talking point is that it's a playoff game. It's 0-0 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Somebody's going to be going home happy. Somebody else is going to be going home on the bus with a frown, and one's going to be with a smile. Throw down to second is not in time. Got in there with a stolen base. Right-hander warming up in the pen for PVI. It is number 19, Christian Williams, getting up and ready. Swing and a miss. He strikes out DeJalianardo. It's the 3rd strikeout for the right-hander for St. John Vianney. So Calderon starting off with a 1-0 count here. I mean, this is where things get a little bit odd because St. John Vianney doesn't have anybody warming up. The problem is if PVI gets a base hit through the middle, it's a 1-0 game, and then you don't have anybody as a backup plan to your guy that's been out there. I mean, I understand that they might want to have a long leash on him, but I don't know how long of a leash you want to have. This isn't some Thursday afternoon in April. This is a do-or-die playoff game with a trip to face the 1 seed Christian Brothers Academy on the line. Here's the pitch. And when it's fouled back, got under it. It'll be Finelli on deck for PVI. He steps in for Will Howell, who was the transfer from Holy Cross. They play tonight versus Morristown Friends. That one's away, 2-2. Just about 4 o'clock here at PVI. Game started an hour and a half ago, and no runs have crossed the plate. As that one is at the knees, 3-2. Close one there. PVI's dugout screaming their heads off, and, well, they've got a good reason to. They're 180 feet from taking the lead with the left-hander on deck. That one's lined foul. Down on the right field side, like we said, going to be Finelli on deck, or excuse me, Lero on deck. Got my words in a bind there. But either way, Finelli the batter here. The freshman, 6'1", 170. Sub-200 hitter, but it might not matter. Fly ball into the right center gap. It's a dive. It is. They're going to say, I couldn't tell what the call was. They're going to say, whoa, this one's way high. It lands right in front of us. That baseball landed almost, oh my goodness. The runner's going to come in, but did they call a dead ball? I mean, the ball had to be called dead when it was trapped. The ball got trapped between the netting and the padding. Honestly, that runner should be held at second, and it should be a 1-0 game. Either way, it's going to be an RBI. The catcher was in our way, so we couldn't tell whether the center fielder caught it or not. A lot of the Vianney parents thought that it was. I mean, I think that there's no way that second run counts. They're going to say yes. They're going to say that both runs will count. And it is a 2-run, whatever you want to call it, for Ryan Finelli, the freshman, who was batting under 200. And the ball got on an airmail from center field, got wedged right between the netting. But I think the problem might have been the catcher and nobody else in the field put up, unless you saw it and I didn't, put up their hands to signify that it was stuck. Because I think that's the rule, is that whatever holds until you put your hands up.
He played the lodge ball, so the play's not dead.
So as soon as the catcher picked up, or it might have been the pitcher that picked it up, as soon as whoever the fielder was picked up the ball that was wedged between the netting and the padding, it's no longer a dead ball.
No.
So that would be a huge mistake then, because they could have just put up their hands and said dead ball, and I think that's why that Coach Klatt isn't exactly arguing. Because he's a longtime head coach. He knows the rules, and you're absolutely right there. In that kind of situation, we saw it before with, I think it was Shane Victorino one time with the Phillies. That one's going to be a bunt up the third base line, barehanded. That throw is high into right field. It hits off of the PVI bullpen, and it hit off of somebody in the bullpen. He's going to third. It's cut off. It is in time. They tried to get too aggressive with it, riding off of the adrenaline of what just happened on the prior play. And this game has had 1,000 wrenches thrown into it. So that is going to be an E5. but the runner being thrown out at third is going to be registered as a 5-9-6-5 putout. 2 away. Myers rips it left field, and we were deceived. It's straight away. The side is retired. PVI puts up 2 runs, and the inning is over. And after a interesting effort by Gabe Laro at third, Myers flies out to left, and the inning is over. However, the stalemate's been broken in the most unusual of ways, and St. John Vianney will have to get it back 2-0 after 5. What an unusual inning. We're in the top of the 6th. It's 2-0 PVI. And, man, I don't know what to make of that last inning. Ungaro is still in the game, and he is entering his 6th inning of work as he leads it off versus McCormick. 5 home runs this year for the senior at first base. That one is called a strike, 0-1. And just as we were explaining to some parents in between innings, if there's any confusion on that play, when the center fielder airmailed the ball and it got lodged between the black padding and the netting. Oh, that one hit him. I think that one hit him at the base of the helmet. McCormick gets plunked. And now St. John Vianney's journey to tying the game puts a runner on first to lead off the 6th. But, I mean, right now, you know, what McCormick's thinking and probably what C.J. Simone is thinking in this situation as well is, listen, we made a mistake. Let's make up for it. Let's make sure that whatever happened there doesn't happen again and you get back in the game, because that might have given St. John Vianney some fire in their belly to say, hey, that time we messed up. Let's make sure we avoid that. That's a base hit in the left. And just like that, under an Ungaro that's been in the game for a while, DM Phillips immediately coming out of the dugout. I don't know if he's going to pull Ungaro for Williams or if he's just going to talk to him. Because if he talks to him, then I think that he could get his composure under control. But here's the problem, though. There's a lot of juggling these guys have to do. If you win, you go to CBA tomorrow. Unless they move that game to Saturday, I'm not sure. But they will take Ungaro out of the game. That will be all for him tonight. As Anthony Ungaro finishes with 5 strikeouts. The last hit by pitch and the base hit allows for 5 hits all told, but no runs. He will be responsible for the 2 on base with Christian Williams coming in, the right-hander. But PVI is up 2-0 with nobody out in the top of the 6th, right back to being anybody's game.
Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
Christian Williams, the pitcher for PVI. 3 varsity seasons under his belt with the Eagles, and his responsibility is to send PVI for the next 6 outs, and maybe the next 3. We'll see how tight of a leash Phillips has. Here's the pitch. It's a bunt. Popped way up. It's over the – no, it's not over the net. It's off the top of it. And Martin brings it in. It's 0-1. You heard me. Williams with a 3.88 career ERA. That's mostly inflated by a 4.72 campaign his freshman year. Brought it down to 3.94 as a sophomore, 3.41 as a junior. He last appeared in a 2-1 loss to Seneca on May 19th. And threw a complete game versus Sterling in a 3-2 win on May the 9th. Struck out 14 over Cumberland in a complete game 5-2 on April 26th. Kind of an odd pairing, PVI and Cumberland, but either way, though.
I think that was in Pop McKenna, though.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. I think that was Pop McKenna. I'm just thinking of, I've been to Cumberland's field. It's an interesting field. It's in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I love Kyle D'Addario. He's a good guy. Gene Thomas, the assistant coach over there, is the head coach of Cumberland Boys Soccer. We're going to get out to a couple games this fall for them. But either way, though, getting back to the task at hand, Martin is walking it off. There was a bunt that was fouled right into his side, right into his ankle. And they're now going to talk things over. If you're just joining us, McCormick got hit by a pitch right in the collarbone to start the inning, and then Simone lined a single the other way to get 2 runners on here. So, big piece of information. I mean, you know, I don't know. Ungaro just came out of the game, and now, again, it's not like St. John Vianney is an Olympic Conference team. They're not used to the Eagles. They haven't played them in a long time. They haven't played them since these kids were probably in elementary school. So, one of the big things when you're in a playoff game against somebody you have no familiarity against is, you know, make sure you're studying, make sure that you know what you need to know. A whipping slider that time out to the right, missed 1-2. But that's the thing, is that in this situation, when we did Tuesday, Washington Township and Cherokee, those teams have played each other 5 times in the last 3 years. They knew each other's game, and they kind of fed off of each other pretty well. These 2 teams aren't like that. Here's the pitch. That one is strike 3 on the outside corner. Williams picks up the strikeout. One away now. Runners on first and second. St. John Vianney looking to tie the game and maybe more with J.T. Molman. Or check that with J.J. McGonigal, one of 2 lefties in the lineup for the Lancers after the strikeout looking by Molman. One away. Williams again with 2 runners on base. Here's the pitch. That one's poked into shallow center field. Myers going in. He puts his glove up, picks it up on the bounce. Throw back to third, not in time. Almost had a force out there. But the bases are loaded. That's the second hit of the inning. It's now Wyatt Lewis. The DH will be the batter. And to think that at 11 a.m. this morning, we weren't going to be here. We were going to be at Kingsway. But instead, 2:30 start time, half-hour long first inning, and now a 2-0 PVI game that is at the risk of being broken and sending this game waving back into the hands of SJV, the 9 seed. Hopefully we've got some Christian Brothers Academy folks watching this game as well. There's going to be a lot of people with interests in these two teams, win or lose. Here's the pitch. There's a ground ball. This could be 2. Oh, it's booted at second base by McGravy. Stop sign at third. St. John Vianney has a run. It bounced right off the glove of the second baseman. And the Lancers are on the board, and they're 90 feet away from tying it. It's 2-1. That's the exact same thing that happened to Jason Brown on Monday for Cherokee. A 3-run lead at the time with a 3-0 game, bases loaded, boots a ball at short. That time the ball trickled away enough for 2 runs to score. This time only counts for 1. It'll be an E4, and he swings through it there. Lewis gets a run in, scoring McCormick. Simone to third, McGonigal to second. And with the bases loaded, what could have been a double play now turns into a nightmare. Bases loaded, 1 away, and maybe a shaken infield here for PVI, trying not to get stirred. Here's the 0-1. Slider. Beautiful slot from the 3/4 position, and it's 0-2. Love that delivery there from Williams. I think St. John Vianney picked up on it batter by batter, but they're going to have to see how they can adjust here because it's not going to be easy. They've got an 0-2 count, and then you've got Capaldo, the shortstop. He's going to be batting next year for the Lancers. Swing and a miss. Good morning, good afternoon, and most importantly, good night. It's a 3-pitch strikeout. It's the 7th K by the PVI pitching staff. And there's now 2 outs in the top of the 6th inning in a 2-1 game. So here we go. The 9-hitter could be the hero. Could be the same person that, despite being at the bottom of the order, has the most impact. We've seen it many times throughout our years. Think about the Phillies game today. Rafael Marchand, the 9-hitter, went deep to right. Anybody can be productive in baseball, and anybody can be a hero. Here's the pitch. There's a strike there, 0-2. Capaldo disagrees. Taylor, Shear, and Adinolfi. 2, 3, and 4. It's the meat of the PVI order as the train passes overhead. As the passengers look down on a great ball game. Outside, 1-2. "73 degrees here in Camden today. Some rain expected for Friday and Saturday, but most playoff games will have to stick it out. Not here in Camden. Here's the 2-strike pitch. Swing and a miss. He swung through it on the slider outside. They have to tag him out, and the inning is over. St. John Vianney gets a run home, but they strike out twice with the bases loaded, and the inning is over. Lancers do get a run back as, man, he just threw that bat at his own teammate. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning looking for some insurance for the Lancers as, well, for the Eagles here as they're going to try to get themselves back going. It's 2-1. Taylor leads us off in the bottom of the 6th inning. More importantly, Eli Calderon is still on the hill for St. John Vianney. Lancers got a run back on a bases-loaded error. However, it wasn't enough to tie the game. Christian Williams coming in, picks up back-to-back strikeouts, and ended the threat. The issue now for the Eagles, they've got 2, 3, and 4. What can they do with it? We think about last year's Pingree and PVI first-round game with PVI being in the same predicament, the 8 seed. That's a line drive. It's off the rubber, out to short. It's stopped. He throws it from the seat of his pants, but the ball will roll into first pretty slowly. And a nice effort there by the shortstop, but it's enough for a base hit. Taylor, after 2 strikeouts, now brings up Shearer. Right-hander is going to be warming up in the pen for the Eagles. Third baseman moving in. It's going to be a bunt. High chopper. It'll go foul. Right-hander warming up in the pen for PVI. That looks like number 11. That'll be Tyler Rogers then. And then Adinolfi in the on-deck circle as well for PVI. As a swing and a miss, 0-2. Looks like they're getting ready for a track and field meet. Here's the 0-2. There's a swing and a miss. Nice little sinker ball on the inside that time. It's the 4th strikeout for Calderon. That's 1 away now for Alicio Adinolfi. I think longtime DWB viewers remember the track game from 2023. It was one of the few times Audubon was hosting a track meet at the same time they were hosting a baseball game. And, well, what do you do when a race starts? You fire the blanks. Well, I had been oblivious to that as the runner goes. Here comes the throw. Down to second. It is not in time. Ball got bobbled at second. It's a 1-0 count to Adinolfi, who is 0 for 1 with a strikeout, or check that, a ground out to short and a walk. But either way, though, I mean, listen. I'm kind of like keeping like my head on a swivel to make sure that I don't get startled. What's popped up, first base side, and out of play. Over towards the, actually it hit off of the light post and skipped out towards the first base side. It's 2-1 PVI, the bottom of the 6th inning. In one of the play-in games here in South Jersey Non-Public A. Set to play yesterday, everything got pushed back a day. Ground ball right back to him. Fake second. Now they're going to go to third. Here it comes. He is safe at third. Think he just got his leg in time. Okay, they're just using whistles, not starter pistols. It is going to be a 1-3 ground out that moves the runner Taylor over. Now here's Martin. PVI in a game where offense has been few and far between, and it's certainly been hard to come by. There are 2 runs coming on a 2-run double by Ryan Finelli, the freshman. And then the second run, Finelli himself scoring after the center fielder wedged the ball. Right in the gap between the netting and the padding here in Camden. There's the 0-1. Runner on third. Strike is called there. It's 0-2. The first 3 for Vianney in the top of the 7th inning will be Murdo, Shapiro, and McCormick. That is exactly who you want leading off in the 7th inning of this game. Here's the 0-2. Hit him. And he'll get it over there. So now it will be McGravy, the second baseman. but at this point in time, you're thinking about what is going to be best for PVI. You've got runners on the corners. I think with McGravy, I think anything goes here. There's 2 outs, and you've got runners on, but they're on the corners. It's not like you can bloop a single and get 2 runs. You have to work a little bit harder to get that second run home. If you're PVI, what do you think your approach is here, David?
Just try to put something in play. And you put something in play, anything can happen here. You got to get some insurance.
One way or another.
SJV proved they can score. They left them loaded last inning, but they proved they can score, and this game is far from over.
Indeed. I am also very surprised by St. John Vianney's pitcher remaining in the game for as long as he has. They have had a very, very tight leash on him, or very loose leash, pardon me. That one's lined. Out to second. They let the ball drop, and the throw to first is in time. Side retired. PVI leaves 2 runners on, and that door is open for just a little bit longer. Lancers could have their final 3 outs, or they'll just need 1 run to keep this game chugging along. Go to the 7th, 2-1.
Ryan Nutley, who has 3 RBIs so far, is up on deck as here's a fly ball to center field, going back to the wall. It is gone! 3-run home run, Steve Schaefer. He rockets 1 out, and it's 9-2. First home run for Schaefer this year, the second hit at home by a Scarlet Raptor.
Christian Williams on the hill in the top of the 7th inning. St. John Vianney needs 1 run to tie it. This game has been odd. It's been wild. It's been weird. Here's the pitch. This is exactly what SJV wants, though, to stay in it here. Murdo, Shapiro, and McCormick. 1, 2, and 3. Murdo is 2 for 3. He's got 2 base hits, and then Shapiro is 0 for 2, but he has a hit by pitch. There's a ground ball. Out to second. McGravy, who made an error in the 6th inning, redeems himself that time. 1 away. Again, the winner would play Christian Brothers Academy, the 1 seed. Theoretically, tomorrow is when they would play. But St. John Vianney got out of a close one in the 6th inning, leaving 2 runners on, and rather shockingly, leaving their pitcher in the game. Elijah Calderon, he is their far and away innings pitched leader with 36 1/3. The team as a whole with a 3.13 ERA. But because they haven't played in 5 or more days, they haven't played since the 22nd, they have actually all of their pitchers available. Matthew Bazcore, 0.93 ERA. Thomas Dunn, a 1.14. One's popped up, first base side. Oh, he slid in and he crashed into the fence. Oh, no. He hit the fence hard. I think he hit it head first, too. He did not come up with the ball, but that fence does not give. And hopefully he's okay. He's going to be all right, but he'll have to stick it out for 2 more outs, and then a CVS ibuprofen trip might be next after the bus comes to a full and complete stop. That one must not have felt good, but listen, 1-run game, top of the 7th inning. kudos to him for putting 110% on the line. Here's Shapiro, the catcher. Again with a 1-1 count. Almost popped out on that last play, but kept it alive. Williams with the pitch. Swing and a miss, 1-2. If there's one guy I don't want in my on-deck circle, it's McCormick. He's on deck. He's got 5 home runs this season and 9 in his career. And in a park that has been rather unpredictable for the hitter this year, there's a ground ball, third base side foul. Again, our next broadcast will be Maple Shade at Pittman, 2 o'clock tomorrow at Alcyon Park in the quarterfinal round of South Jersey Group 1. Some other scores from around the area. Shalleck and Glassboro tied at 1-1 on a Luke Prokrovsky home run. Egg Harbor Township and Eastern EHT leads 1-0 in the second. That's a rematch from last year's South Jersey Group 4 final. That one misses in the dirt.
Collingswood, I think, beat Manchester Township as well.
Yeah, that's a 6 versus 14 game. It's 2-2. West Effort leads Sterling in Group 2, 1-0 after 2. If we have any more, we'll let you know. There's a fly ball, foul down the line, and it'll stay alive. The longer he can pressure Williams, I think the better it'll be for him. And actually, Glassboro did just take the lead again. But a lot of good games around the area, a handful of them postponed, and a ground ball foul. Two balls, 2 strikes, and a swing and a miss. He got him. 2 away. Now it'll be McCormick. Wanted to show off before we went. How about this bat by a wonderful fan who is a veteran of the 173rd Airborne Brigade. There you go. It's cool stuff. Wanted to get that going before we before we resumed. But here's McCormick. Top of the 7th inning. 2 outs. St. John Vianney's season on the line with an 11-9 record, 6-5 in the Shore C North Division. The 0-1 is a strike called, and it's 0-2. A quick turnaround could be en route. St. John Vianney around the corner, PVI over an hour and a half to Christian Brothers Academy. Christian Williams, the 0-2. Fly ball, right field. It's up there, going back to the 343 sign. It is caught in right field. And for the 2nd year in a row, the Paul VI Eagles have won their first round playoff game, but this time it's by the skin of their teeth. 2-1, the final. And for the 2nd year in a row, the PVI Eagles will be headed north to face the 1 seed. Last year it was Red Bank. This year it's CBA. As St. John Vianney puts up a good fight, but after PVI was shut down in the bottom of the 6th inning, a game that didn't have a lot of tension to it after last year certainly had all of it, PVI takes home a 2-1 win on McCormick's fly out to right field. How about it? Player of the game presented by DAWG Pro Wrestling is going to be Ryan Finelli. Anthony Ungaro did good, but Ryan Finelli was the reason why PVI won the game. 2-run double to center field and scoring on an E8 to get himself home as well. We'll talk to him in just a minute, but what a game it was. PVI will improve to 12-12 on the season, and St. John Vianney's season will end with a final record of 11-10. Wanted to say before we go to our post-game show, I wanted to wish a big thank you to St. John Vianney and their organization and their parents for tuning in today. You guys are making your first DWB appearance, and we hope it's not the last. You guys are the 10th Shore Conference school to be featured, and we hope that we see you guys sometime soon. I know Bobby Acosta just stepped down from their football program, but maybe we'll see some more of the Lancers in future seasons. That'll be all for us right now. We're going to turn it over to our interview in just a moment with Ryan Finelli, your player of the game. We'll be back in just a moment here from Camden. can hear me though?
Yeah, you want me to look in the camera?
Yeah, we're good. All right, we're rolling here with our DAWG Pro Wrestling Player of the Game. It's Mike Finelli, the freshman. Drove in the only 2 runs PVI had, and it was in an odd way as the Eagles win it 2-1 over St. John Vianney. First of all, how'd you feel out there today?
You know, it felt great. Stuck to my approach. It was a close game, but we came out in the end.
Slide over a little bit. All right. We got a little bit of a fan club going on over there, but either way, you know, Mike, this was an unusual game. Can't disagree with that in 17, but anyways, that was a weird play that got you those 2 runs. A fly ball to center field got down in the gap, and then center fielder airmailed it, and it would have just been 1 run, but because the catcher picked it up, you know, it ended up being 2 runs, and you wouldn't have had to stay at third or second. First of all, what are you seeing out there when that play happened? You got the ball down, center fielder dove but didn't catch it. Is Gruber at third base saying, you know, go, 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 or – yeah, because I saw you score pretty quickly after they picked it up.
Yeah, I was definitely watching Gruber, but I was on second base watching to see where the throw went. And if it went high, which it did, I was on my way to third base, and then I was standing there and it went over, and Gruber said, just go to home.
Yeah, that was the right call, because what should have happened, and we explained this on the broadcast, is that the pitcher and catcher, they should have put up their hands and they should have said it was a dead ball. They probably would have put you on second or third, but you took advantage of a mistake, and that was what won the game. This is huge for you guys. Last year was an unusual game. It was a testy, emotional game over Pingree. This was just pure business. You got the game. You got the 2 runs you needed, and then Ungaro and Williams shut it down. You guys have a quick turnaround. CBA tomorrow as the 1 seed. What is your team's mindset, and how do you feel about your team going into tomorrow?
I feel great about our team. Our pitching's been great. We have one of the best staffs in Jersey, but I feel like we just got to learn to hit the ball, and that starts with cage work and confidence, honestly, going into the box and trusting your approach.
Absolutely. David, where did my scorecard go? I don't know where I put it. We were going to do the usual. Oh, there it is. I'm going to sneak right behind you. We're going to do our DWB tradition where we have the player of the game sign the scorecard nice and big on the bottom there as PVI takes home a 2-1 win over St. John Vianney in the 8-9 game. And there you go. Quick one for Mr. Finelli. He's your player of the game. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, go celebrate with your teammates. All right. Yeah, thank you very much. All right. Thank you. Have a good night. All right, that was our player of the game, Mike Finelli. He had the 2 runs that they needed to get over the hump. It was a 2-run double and then aided by a mental mistake in center field and a mental mistake behind the plate as well that gave PVI the win 2-1. Our next broadcast will be Maple Shade and Pittman on Friday at 2 o'clock in the South Jersey Group 1 quarterfinals. There's games going on all over the place today, but that'll be all for us here tonight. From our entire crew here at DWB, our social media coordinator, Haley Mejia, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Carson Rosso, my producer and color commentator, another Olympic Conference product in David Cohen. I'm Dan Wilkins. We'll see you from the other South Jersey Mecca tomorrow night. It is Alcyon Park and the Wildcats facing off against the Panthers. Have a good one, folks.